Inovação, segurança,
programação,
tecnologia,
desenvolvimento.
Começa aqui.
Let's begin.
DevSecOps. O seu podcast de segurança em tecnologia.
Hello guys, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to have another English episode with nice guests and everything. This is a third season of DevSecOps podcast. We are already above 100 episodes, so please come back to all the lists, all the episodes and watch/listen to them. And I'm Cássio Pereira.
I'm Gabriel Prevelati.
I'm Marcos Santos.
And I'm Rodrigo Balbino.
we have almost a football team on the podcast with everybody plus guests today that we'll be introducing in a moment. But before, it's always good to remember that the DevSecOps podcast has the support from Checkmarx and Nova 8. We are specialized in security for system and code and secure code, let's say. Okay, the link of Nova 8, the distributor from Checkmarx in Brazil, it's on our website and here on the description of the video on YouTube. And also, if you need to open an IT company on this kind of things, you can talk to the guys from Contabilidade Olimpia. Of course, companies in Brazil, though you can talk to them. Their link is on our website as well and on our video on the YouTube. Okay, so this is our supporters for now. So, guys, here we are to talk about something very special that I really love to discuss. And I thought, okay, only me thinking about this way, but no. Good that I found Rachel on a conference here in Poland. And I don't want to introduce nobody because it's very hard to talk about other people. But Rachel, please be very welcome to the DevSecOps podcast. It is a pleasure to have you here for your time and everything. So please introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, why we are here. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I'm Rachel, and I'm a developer advocate at JetBrains. We make IDEs for a whole bunch of languages. So I've been in the business of developing software for many decades now, and most recently looking at ways we can apply principles of psychology to software and this integration of software and the rest of our reality and how people are interacting and dealing with it.
Awesome. Very good, Rachel. Again, thank you very much. And guys, please, you cannot tell today that you prefer Visual Studio, okay? Today we like more IntelliJ.
Oh, IntelliJ is very, very good.
Never used
Visual
Studio. What this?
Good,
What
good.
is Microsoft, guys? I don't know.
I'm a fan of Visual Studio all my life, but after IntelliJ and this kind of companies and other tools, it's good to have some competitors to Visual Studio because it's only one thing. Anyway, this is not the discussion, but guys, we are going to talk about use principles of psychology to build better software. Yeah, how we can help the developers to have the mindset of a hacker, of an attacker, of a bad behavior, and how we can introduce secure software and secure code to our products, to our society, and so on. Just to have a quick introduction, when Rachel was speaking on this conference that I met her, it was about specifically dark patterns and how softwares make you buy more, how softwares make you click where the companies want you click, and these kind of things. We have some similar attacks like click hijacking and kind of similar stuff that will make the user fall for something that the hacker wants to do it. It's not the case, but it's similar. And if the developers would have this mindset of kind of attackings and how things happen, would they build better software? Would they I don't know how to construct better products in general to avoid some kind of attacks or either to avoid some kind of dark patterns, as Rachel mentioned. So I would start with a first question for Rachel. Rachel, what is dark patterns? What is this bad behavior that we are talking about?
Yeah, so a dark pattern is something in software where people manipulate people all of the time in human interactions. And they can use tools to do it. And software is just a tool. Right? So we build software, we build it for other humans, and developers tend to forget this. They get so absorbed in the detail at the unit test or the line of code, they forget about the fact that they're building a product for other humans. And So that humanness is what dark patterns take advantage of. The fact of certain just behaviors that most humans do most of the time to get an instant response from you. And in the talk, I talk about the many ways this happens in the physical world as well, things that people experience every day and may not realize it at the supermarket, or people who go to casinos, shopping centers. But the same thing happens online. Why would this not go online, right? And it has. So you go to Amazon. Has anyone ever tried to cancel their Prime subscription? Like, try.
No.
It's the Hotel California. You get in there, you get Amazon Prime, and it's easy enough that you get in there, you get it, and you like it anyway. I don't think there's this giant exodus from Amazon, but when you do try to get out, they don't make it easy. You go to your account, there's no mention of canceling, and you dig around, you have to go to the help center, and then you have to dig through a help request. And people have actually put tutorials where they take you click by click trying to escape and get out of this, and it takes like 10 minutes and a tutorial video. So that's definitely when Amazon's doing this. And they're so big at this point, I think implementing this is not going to hurt them because they're so gargantuan around the world. A small company, though, doing this can have their reputation hurt terribly to the point to where they go under. Right? Because these things can come back to bite you. Amazon does get a lot of returns, and there's been enough returns to various online retailers because of dark patterns and whatnot that they are kind of taking a notice that you can kind of manipulate people, but they might recognize it later that they were manipulated. Now, as far as security goes, that's kind of a too bad for you because they've already got your bank account at this point or some other piece of information. It's not just something you bought and might have to return, which cost you money, Amazon money, et cetera, et cetera. All right, it's much worse when it comes to security. These same principles apply, though, what people are doing. They're going to use software, like you mentioned, a phishing attempt to get somebody to go, oh, click, just to cause that automatic response in people.
No, they're very, very impressive, this way to thinking. Because, for example, in Brazil, not nowadays, but in the past, when we try to cancel our mobile plan, like you needed to call someone. We have Claro, Ting, and other operators, and you needed to call, find the menu online on the line. After 15 minutes, you could talk to someone who tried to convince you to not to cancel, and then you could be able to cancel. It's a terrible experience. Yeah.
Yes,
And
that is another one. Signing up easy online, but you have to call to cancel. That's another one.
Exactly.
Yeah,
now we need more and more laws to guarantee of the process for to cancel something. No.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So it takes you forever. Some people just give up, and that's what this is about, right? They get people to give up. And honestly, I'm thinking if your product is really great and speaks for itself, you shouldn't need to resort to this. I think very often the motivator behind these dark patterns are bad metrics, right? And bad like KPIs at companies, and where people try to meet them and they go, we have to sell this product, and we have to do it through our website. Or how can we have more upsells in this app, more in-app purchases? And they do things to show a big button, click here, buy the thing. But you try to look for a way to close it, and the X is so tiny, like a surgeon can barely even get to it, And they do things like that. And a lot of people like physically can't even get out of the box. They go halfway through a sign up. It's a terrible experience for a lot of people.
Yeah, terrible. Marcos, Gabriel, any questions? I have a lot, but I don't want to bump to steal Rachel only for my thoughts. Yeah?
I think that the code manages to industrials like this. We can say that the code has become a digital influencer.
Yeah.
Exactly. Marcos, any points? Any thoughts?
Not this moment. I'm waiting more.
Okay. So
I have one. Before we studied logics and mathematics and thinks
Language
about
and so on.
thinks about the computer, the science of the computer, and now we need to study more and psychology and the peoples and understand how, uh, what how oh come on.
Tá em
What is
português, I can help you.
é, como vemos isso acontecer para o futuro, né? Tipo a mistura da
How do you see this kind of improving on the universities, let's say on the education part? People not studying only language and technology, but still this psychologists, people behavior, and this kind of things.
Yeah, just like with other industries, as they've matured, they start crossing over into other industries, and you get people that come from maybe a cooking background that might apply technology, for finding allergens or something, and here psychology applying human factors to these tools we make for other humans to use, things like that. So I think it comes in that cross discipline is where a lot of this comes from. So I don't think you need to have a psychology degree or anything like that. I don't. I have a master's in software engineering, right? So that's my background. But I do like to see how humans tick. Computers were always kind of easy for me. It is the people that are the difficult ones. It's ironic because a lot of programmers think the technical aspects are the programming, and I think the people aspects are much harder. They're much more unpredictable. The computer always does what you tell it. People never do what you tell them. As a matter of fact, they don't want to do what you tell them. But they will if you do it the right way. A famous motto of hackers is people will tell you their password. You have to ask the right way. And that falls into that realm of social engineering, or in this case, dark patterns that go in there and bite people. And they're biting us, people who are tech people. And we get caught by some of these. But I end up rescuing family members constantly because, I got the subscription. I can't get out of it now, right? The whole charging you. And then, we promise it's only a 30-day trial. And then they just keep charging you. Anyway, they outright lied. Some of this is outright illegal, right? But a lot of it is just kind of shady, trying to get you to buy more stuff. And it's all about the way you present things. So if we dip down in the not so shady that it's illegal, if you just look at any website, you go to Amazon and you'll see a label called Amazon's Choice. And people look at this and they go, oh, well, there's this label and it's always reviewed well. This must mean something. What actually does this mean? Nobody actually knows. Except somebody at Amazon. So it might as well just be random shit that they're putting this label on. But the fact that there is a label there invokes in people this little automatic response of, oh, there's like an authority stamping this product is okay. That obviously not, somebody doesn't literally think this through, but it's subconscious. And it's all about these subconscious ways. When you are looking at a phone or a computer screen, what's presented to you does make you have emotional reactions. Like an error, for example. What developer hasn't had an emotional reaction to a terrible 404 or something like that, right? So, or a compiler error, even worse, right? Error 91. So you do. People go, oh, no, I don't get emotional when I interact with software. You do. If you're a programmer, you most certainly have.
Because you've got especially because usually developers consider their code as their own child.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's even worse.
That too. Yeah. So you do, and that's the thing that you want to do. So they do that with like, oh, here's Amazon's Choice, or when I go to put something in a cart, they pop something else. Well, this might break. Here, how about this warranty? That's not as dark as it is kind of a classic upsell. But I do have to wonder about all of these warranties, because if your product is so good, why do we need to keep buying all this extra protection for it? All right.
Exactly. And especially about this point, usually we see websites with, for example, this might break, you must need a guarantee. And the yes is a big green button, and the no is a small gray that you barely can see it on the screen, yeah?
Yep. That's a classic one too. The big
Oh my God.
button that is, in a color that stands out, and then the tiny text somewhere for the thing they don't really want you to do. Right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, like signing up for a newsletter or whatever. A spin-off of this is, here's one that manipulates people. So that is mostly like, we're trying to draw your attention. All right. You still have the choices, even though they're uneven. So that's a little darkish. But one that's, I think, taking that a step further is you'll go to a website and maybe they want you to subscribe to a newsletter, as literally every website wants you to do, because they have the most important news ever, always. So they'll pop up a box and it will have a little piece for text in there saying, enter your email and subscribe to get like 20% off your next purchase. And you look and you think, 20% off. But they're going to spam me. I don't really want to do that. And so you go, no, I think I'll pass, because spamming is not even worth 20%, right? Maybe it's not that expensive of a product. Then you look for the button to exit, and what it says, instead of like, no thanks, it says, no, I don't like saving money.
Exactly. Are you stupid?
Right. Literally they're insulting you, and they're assaulting your identity, because most people have an identity as part of their identity. I'm somebody who saves money. I'm not a waster of anything. Anybody think of themselves as wasteful? Very few, I would say, do. So this
like
is
the Julius say,
It's an assault on your character.
If you don't buy, the discount is better.
Exactly. So they're like insulting your character. And one of my friends ran across this, and she said, I actually felt terribly guilty clicking on that button. She goes, there has to be, this is called something. I'm like, yes, it's called confirm shaming. That's the term for it, confirm shaming. So anywhere where they give you a confirmation and do the thing we want, if not, you're a horrible freaking person, is basically what they're saying without literally saying it. They're coming as close as possible. You're a horrible person if you don't click the button I want you to. And it does. God. It does make people, when you're reading this about you. I'm not this horrible person. And it does actually invoke something that I talk about in my talks. Is this psychologist named Robert Cialdini wrote a book on persuasion and psychological principles. There's 7 of them. And one of them is that when people see this stuff or have this experience, it causes them to go like, click where? Like a little wind-up car toy. You go click, and then it goes where, and it flies off. And this is what these pieces of software do. They are meant to invoke that. Like, click where? I'm a saver. I'm not a bad person who throws away money. So I have to sign up for the newsletter. Right? Yeah, so like that kind of stuff, right? So that's what it's trying to invoke, that automatic response that people, you don't even have time to think about it, right? It just causes a flash of emotion, and then it makes you want to do the thing. So if people have gone to therapy, they may have practiced like recognizing these things and kind of working with them. And they would say, we might have practiced, trying to avoid this in therapy, but fewer people go to therapy than not. So for a lot of people, this is automatic and they can't help it. They're just clicking that button anyway, and then they're getting spammed.
Guys, we should have talked about this earlier, because I have a huge box of stuff I bought it with 20% off, but never choose it.
Oh my God.
You're not a bad person. You save money.
Yeah, especially online courses and books.
Yes.
No, I don't
100%. Yes.
I don't need these buttons to buy more books and online courses. Like, I just do that enough and have a big list to get through. They don't need to do this. That's the thing.
No, very nice. This big topic. And I just after this Rachel speaking, I just came up with something, because we face this problem daily as we work as application security engineers.
Yeah.
We usually came to the developers like, guys, we have a vulnerability in your code, like SQL injection, whatever. But then what we feel from them is like, what? My code is perfect. I'm awesome developer. I never studied about security. That's okay, but my code is perfect. It's performatic. I using IntelliJ to build it. It's a C# code and whatever. But how can you, security guy, come to me and say that my code has a vulnerability? And this, maybe it's this cause that Rachel mentioned, like shaming. How is this?
Confirm
Shaming,
shaming.
confirm shaming.
shaming.
Like, man, are you stupid? You build a perfect code with a flaw. So
Right.
they, as I feel from the developers, they feel this kind of personal approach, like, who are you to talk bad about my code? Then we need to come with this cultural approach, like, no, guys, we run some security tests with some kind of specific tools. We found your code awesome and perfect, but on the flow, it introduced some vulnerability or some security problem that might lead to a remote code execution, to access to your database or whatever. And we need to fix this. And in order to fix this, you need to listen to me because I'm the security guy and understand how to protect from this threat. And you are the developer who are focused on the business or on the feature or whatever. And this kind of DevSecOps approach and culture and this kind of things, I see more difficult in our area, let's say, because usually it's hard to talk to the developers, not only the developers, but people in general, as Rachel was mentioned, and they feel like a shame or they have a problem, even if they don't know about the problem. Okay, let's try to train more about security and vulnerabilities. Let's try to stop creating this kind of codes. Let's put some validations and so on and so on. But after this Rachel talk, like dark patterns and this approach with people, maybe it's a challenge that we have, how to talk with the developers in this way that they will listen better. Like, we should hack them somehow to listen to us that they have a vulnerability. Come on, Gabriel, go on.
Talk to Rachel now. I had an idea. We could give a great idea to the creators of Sashi. Whenever we find a vulnerability, we leave a big green button. Right? Do you want to fix this vulnerability? And
Yeah.
a smaller button.
Very
Oh
good.
my god.
Very good.
And a smaller button that says, "Are you sure you don't want to fix the vulnerability?"
Yeah, you want to leave your code insecure?
There we go. Yes.
I have another one. We can make it like the Game of Thrones. Shame. They
Throw
put
right at
the yeah. Shame.
Good. Go on, Marcus.
Now let me ask you. We talk about vulnerabilities and psychology, and do you think when the developer have I don't know, a bad day and psychology is not good, these have influence in the code into generate more vulnerabilities or the things?
Yeah, I have no doubt it does. You know how it is. If you don't feel well, you don't perform your best. If you're, feeling depressed that day or whatever, if you're not on your game, sometimes you just don't produce well.
Yeah, I take this example from, I really like to cook, and I used to watch MasterChef. And in MasterChef Brazil, especially, there was this Argentinian chef who was taking, like, if you don't have a good day, if you are not cooking with love and so on, you're gonna bring this to your dish. Like,
Yeah.
they won't have good sauce, salty, and so on. So we see that today you were sad or something. It's come to your dish. So maybe it's the same thing to the code. Yeah, you have a bad day, so now your code is not performing well or some things. Yeah, because in the end, it's people. Yeah, we are building something. If you are not good, you will not produce well in any profession in general, I think.
Yeah.
All right. That's the thinking behind code. Like, you need to sit and think. And if you're sad or something's bothering you, or if if you're sick from, you have a cold or whatever, you just cannot focus enough. And I think it's just that you can't focus enough to really be that productive if you're having
Yeah,
days.
yeah, totally.
Oh, that's good. And I have another question. When you talk about the buttons, apply is a big green button. How do people think was the positions correct to put the apply, to cancel, or other buttons? Because if you see the pages, the more parts of this, we have a confirm button in the right side and the
Right.
cancel in the left side. Why about this?
Yep. So this is also very well orchestrated. Where buttons are, how they're colored, how they're colored in relation to each other, all of that. Also, things like how you present the money. For example, the pricing itself is called charm pricing. So if you had a bottle, say a bottle of wine for 24 euros 99 cents, when they do the 99 on it, and that they've been doing this for since the 1800s, they've been doing this because they found out it, even though it's only a cent, which does not generally make that much of a difference, even back then, right, with all those decades of inflation, it still feels cheaper than it is when you put the 99 or a 40, something that ends in a 9, right? Because it's not 15, it's 14, right? It's not 25, it's 24. So that little tiny weird thing just makes it seem a little different. Also, how big they print the price. You'll notice that prices, unless it's on a big for sale sign on the, like physically on an outside of a building, like on a web page, often they're not giant and bold. They keep them a little smaller because people tend to, again, you're not consciously thinking, but in the subconscious, big numbers, people conflate a big number with the actual bigger price. So you'll see a lot of smaller fonts, thinner fonts, less scripted fonts that are very clear, easy to see, smaller numbers, things like that. Some A/B studies have revealed also where you place a product's photo. For example, a furniture store did A/B testing and they said, find very antique-y looking things to decorate with, old-timey stuff. And the picture that for left to right speakers came up on the left all the time, this lamp, people picked and they said, this is very antique-y looking. They ran the same thing and said, find modern looking. And they put the same lamp in, but put it on the right for left to right speakers. And they thought, oh, that's modern looking when it was shown on the right of the page. And it's because you conflate subconsciously time and where things are located on the paper. Now, right to left speakers do it exactly the opposite. All right, if they do this A/B testing, it runs the opposite way. So every single thing on the page is there for a reason, and they can A/B test. You can A/B test out of a lot of this to see what people respond to.
Interesting. Go on, Gabriel.
Oh, good, very good.
Great. I saw something that I don't know if it's really valid or if it's something that we subconscious taking into account. But just like in movies and cartoons, anyway, the color red means something bad or wrong.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the most of the cancel buttons for something are red. And the color that supposedly represents a good is green. As are the yes buttons is green. So
Yep.
You can see
so
this in the nature, no? The worst animals or dangers are they are red.
Fire.
Red is
Colorful.
danger. No?
Yeah, and people use this in packaging as well, right? So they package with, red is always for spicy things, but also Coca-Cola, but you do get those nice little bubbles. I mean, I guess
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
that. Yeah. But reds and blues are very popular. And there's a little bit of different cultures see colors a little differently as to what might be like purity or love or, but they do. You're right. Colors do represent things. So sometimes colors are very well architected, but sometimes companies are just like, I like purple, which is
It's so different.
if that's what you like, I like purple too. So we're good. Whatever color you want for your logo. I think most companies kind of do that thing, but some actually architect it. As a matter of fact, I worked, I don't know if anyone here would recognize this brand, but I worked in the US for a company called Wise Snacks, and they made Wise potato chips. There was a little owl was there, Wise owl. So if you look on the internet, you'll see them. And they had like a little silhouette logo of an owl's head. And it had, like an eye, a little swoop for the little feathers that go like this over their face. And, just the bottom of the face. So it was just kind of an outline. And they brought in a psychologist to look at their logo and colors and things like this. And this was back in the 90s, mind you. And They said, well, actually, this owl is just a tad angry. When we run it past children, sometimes they go, what's the owl angry about? And I'm like, I've seen this owl since I was a kid, and I never thought of it as angry. But apparently, there are enough kids that these are who you want eating the chips, right? Because it's easy to market for them.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they were like, "No, let's just make his little eyebrow or eye feather. I don't know what these things are on an owl. So, let's make that a little softer and then whoop, kids love it now." And I was like, okay, that was weird. But yeah, like everything down to logos and things like that do have little effects. Most people, most of the time, not everybody, all of the time. So this one thing might not affect you or somebody else, but it's getting a broad swath of people. And stuff like that is harmless. It's just making your logo nicer and not scaring kids, arguably.
Hopefully.
But some of these things often, as you see, are pretty shady, like trying to get people to get trapped in a subscription or buy something they don't want, or outright sneaking crap into your basket. I also talk about in my talk, everything that you see on these websites, you can actually use with your teammates. So there's things like the anchoring effect. Like everyone should use this when you go for a job or a raise. You go for a job, the first number that comes out is the anchor on either side. So you want to get that number out first and go high. Anchor it up there because people are fixed to the first number they heard here. That is why, at least in the US, you'll see a retail price on an automobile because that's the anchor that they get you, and you can start working down from there. So if I go in for a car, I come in and I say, no, I am coming in with a much lower number and I try to re-anchor it because I know that's what they're doing. But once it's anchored, it is very difficult. But Gabriel's waiting here for.
I already know what the Bobino is thinking about the color comparison. I thought about Star Wars too, Bobino. Yes.
Yeah.
If you look behind Bobino, have two colors, have red and blue, representing the little angel and the devil on your shoulder.
Oh my God.
Like the dark side, the light side.
Yes. The red is the dark side.
So should be dark, not red.
Dark red.
Yeah, dark red side.
Let's talk about red patterns.
Marcos, you want to say something? You are with raised hand.
Yes, I have one question. When you think in development, in pages, in colors, and other things, do you have a different page for men and for women, or different styles of buttons, different positions, and other things?
It's possible some places do that, but not so much, because these things are just pretty common just across the board human behavior. And if you think about it in terms of that automatic response of just trying to get someone to like push a button and go, that is deep-seated in our evolution. If we heard a growl and didn't get out of there, you were eaten. Right? So we didn't really have time to sit around thinking about stuff and being philosophers and classrooms. That's a modern invention. Even from a few thousand years ago, it's still pretty modern. So we've created this nice modern world that is comfortable, but yet this little piece of it is not so comfortable because it's a little weird where you can kind of hijack these human natures. So that's really, I think, the crux of that.
No.
Well, that's good.
Very good discussion so far. Let me just play
DevSecOps.
because I really missed this sort of sounds. And I have one point. Okay, we talked about the dark patterns, how we basically do some actions or perform some actions based on how the product show us the options or whatever. And okay, how about, because we are talking about in general the developers, they are building the software.
Yep.
And usually they do not decide how the software will be. Actually, it's based on some requirement. Yeah,
right.
Someone creates this software requirements, and okay, guys, here we need a text box. Somebody will put the email, click subscription, and you have the newsletter. You go this data to the database, and so on and so on. Okay, but this requirement came from system analysts, came from the business, and so on. So let's say that it's not developers' fault, but some business related person fault to ask this requirement this way. Yeah, so basically the developer will create what it's supposed to do based on the requirement. So with that in mind, Rachel, do you believe that we should somehow make some trainings or make some discussions, whatever, with users or business or, these people who are really asking the software? They have the idea, they have the demand, they have the need of the software, and they will ask for it, and someone will just buy it, build it. So do you think these people should be involved in this kind of discussions? I'm trying to approach the business people and so on with the security mindset. Like, guys, you are asking the software. If you do not ask for encryption, sometimes the developer will not encrypt. And you need to say, okay, guys, we have a GDPR and this kind of data, we need to encrypt end to end, something like this. If it's not there written on the requirement, the developer will not do it. So the security need to come left, as we say, shifting left and so on. And the most left is the requirement. Do you believe in this for this kind of dark patterns as well? How do you see this?
Yeah, very similarly, it's a thing that a lot of developers either don't know or really aren't that interested in, and they just get a stack of requirements and code away. But I think a couple things is, one, if you're a developer who cares about quality, which if you're listening to podcasts, going to conferences, you probably are, then you want your product to be a good product, which means you probably don't want this garbage basically in there tormenting your users, essentially, for what amounts to what I mentioned before, metrics. It does often come back down to these bad metrics. So we want this good product, but also, depending on what part of the stack you're in, I mean, API and database devs might be the most removed from this, but you do have the front end devs and full stackers, and they're often actually creating the UI in tandem with designers, right? So it's the designers and the devs got to get together and go back to management and say, look, here's the thing we're pretty sure you don't know about, these dark patterns. It does this, right? It kind of coerces the users, makes them feel icky and violated because it's icky and we violated them. I'd prefer not to do this. I know we have metrics, but there is some information. A gentleman named Paul Bogue has a website and some talks on the same topic, but he focuses on what happens is when you do release a product, say an e-commerce website, and it's full of dark patterns, you'll get that revenue up front from the extra sales or sneaking in the cart or whatever it is. But like I said, eventually some of them are going to find out. They'll figure it out. Like, I've been duped, kind of. They'll feel bad about it. They'll get buyer's remorse on top of that. Then they'll return the product and call customer service. And then expenses start really piling up. The costs to cover the returns, the complaints, the bad PR. Just remember, for every good experience, usually people don't say a whole lot. Sometimes they do, but for every bad experience, somebody tells like 14 people or some ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
And that's the word amount that you don't want, right? That kind of thing. That'll, especially for a small business, it might take you down. Amazon, sure, they've gotten to that untouchable point, but I think, but smaller places, this could really, really damage your reputation. Additionally, governments. Now, a government could take Amazon down, but they are starting to sue. They sued LinkedIn. They sued, every travel website ever has been using dark patterns. They're terrible. EasyJet is terrible, right? I call them out I'm always yelling at them. I still use EasyJet because I know exactly how to go through their dark patterns and kind of get around them. But more often than not, people just get sucked into like 3 times the price. But nonetheless, they got sued. The UK has a consumer action committee. I forget what it's called. But they are crafting laws where you can't do this stuff. So legally, you may be on the hook. And that's a consideration because depending on how the company's set up, so you might get the finger pointed at you, right? Your team, your boss, so it could be like, oh, you wrote this, or well, why didn't you tell the boss? I mean, this could come back to some level of personal blame or organizational blame. It could be a legal issue, but also, there could be costs involved because people are starting to wise up and start complaining and complain to consumer committees about this kind of thing in various governments.
So basically, it's how we should come to this business. Let's say, guys, let's not do this way because
Right.
of these problems that we may face later. And
Right.
that's the point.
And he has some numbers showing just how much it could cost, and where it's a hidden cost. At first, it looks like you're doing great, but then you don't realize until later on when the returns and the customer service calls start eating up all those revenue and profits.
Yeah,
on
it's the
other
same,
side.
and also it's a challenge because maybe it's the same point that we are in security now. We need to, guys, we need to scan our code. We need to put some kind of security tools and so on. But the mindset is but this will never happen to me. Hackers are not interested in my data and my company and so on. And what makes it happen more works better for me in the past company. It was a travel company actually. Was working with Rodrigo. This was the problem. Like guys, let's don't bother with this. This is too much investment for now. And then we started workshops, and these workshops I was presenting some attacks and some incidents, random incidents, and it was from our company. And I was presenting for some specifically teams. And in the end of the presentation, during the presentation, they were like, "Oh, how stupid is this? It should be very, very easy to fix this problem," and so on and so on. And then in the end of the presentation, I was, "Okay, guys, all of this happens here, and it was on your code and your application and your product." And they were like, "Oh my God, what the fuck? So we need to fix this now. We need to run this now." And then I realized that, okay, they will only respect the fear. They only respect the fear, like, okay, this is happening, and I don't want to be shamed or blamed that my code or my product had a problem, so we need to fix this now. And before was like, guys, we need to fix this. But this will never happen to me. This will never happen to our company. So I think we should find a way, like Rachel, we can discuss further, to bring this possibility of something bad happen to like this possibility change to real thing. Like, guys, it will happen. Like in security now, we talk like it's not about if you're going to be hacked, but when you're going to be hacked, if you are prepared and this kind of things. So it's a big challenge and big discussion in general.
Yeah, I think the pointing out governments are noticing is, once you start talking about legal issues, that's a good deterrent for a lot of folks.
Good point to approach. Okay, guys, we are moving out to the time, but Rodrigo, Marcos, and Gabriel have final considerations. Please bring in.
I have a small question for finish. Right? We talk about the how to hack the peoples. So how do we protect ourselves from this? How we make the things automatically, but how
we should put some protection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a part of why I give the talk, is so people can also protect themselves. When you are interacting with software, or as much in the real world as you can, give yourself a pause and think, like, as you're working through software and a pop-up pops up, did I feel something weird there? Do I feel compelled to do something? Because when you feel a little compulsion to do something, a little urge, almost like someone trying to quit smoking, stop yourself, and stop and say, why? Is what's on this screen that might be giving me some little urge feeling, and maybe you can't even quite articulate the full feeling yet, but you'll know that there's a little something there. So you can do that as like a nice way to start getting in a habit of trying to recognize this. Another thing too is start looking online, like read Robert Cialdini's book on the 7 principles of persuasion, and also learn about cognitive biases, which is not just left-right politics. That's not really a bias. The biases are those little click, where are those little automatic responses that when you see that, no, I don't like to save money, and it feels like somebody insulted you because they just did. working with that, right? Those kind of little things are a bias. It's a bias to say, like, I'm consistent within my image of myself, and you telling me I don't save money makes me not consistent if I am to agree to that and click that button, right? So all of that happened in just an instant in your brain if you were to think that out. So it's trying to know about those kind of things about yourself. So what kind of little weird cognitive biases cause people to, get that feeling like, oh, going to get eaten, run away, like we would have a million years ago. So, Gabrielle?
Yes, just complementing. We did our game recently that proved that when they actually see the vulnerability being used, they worry. We had about 15 developers who come out of the war game and started a student and asking about security. And guys, 15 developers who understand security for any company is a big win.
That is.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. And just about this last comment that Rodrigo and Rachel did, our first phishings in Brazil in the past was something like, here's the pictures of your wife in the bed with another guy. Or your husband in the bed with another, and like, oh my god! Then you don't even think it; you just click it.
Yep.
Or you were the government, something, you are sued. Here's the process: download the PDF and so on. And the most common one is the enlarge your salary. This kind of things. And everybody's kind of interested in this. They want bigger salaries that they want. And but in the past, this one was the main, like, guys, here's your husband or your wife, they're cheating on you. Here, I'm private detective. Here's the pictures. And in Brazil, we are queens or kings of gossiping about other people's life. I saw your neighbor. Here's the pictures. Clicking. So the human instinct of the gossiping and then know about the news would make the click and got hacked somehow and so on. And I think this protection that Rachel and Rodrigo comment now is, if either us as users in general, we are buying online every day, or at least commonly, frequently, and also for the developers, like, if not the developers, but people involved in the software development life cycle, testers, developers, business requirements, and so on and so on. Like, let's think better on this. And how do we avoid these things in our products, and how we protect ourselves from other companies and so on. I think this is the final message I would say in general. Okay, guys, out of time. Rodrigo, Gabriel, Marcos, thank you again. If you want to say some comments, no problem. Rachel, I want to thank you very, very much. We could spend 3 years here talking about this topic because we had a lot of talk. And we put a step in the one topic that I want to talk with somebody from UX or somebody from the designer. How could we perform security from this perspective? How a position of buttons and so on to avoid some attacks and this kind of things would be very good. So if someone is here listening to this podcast, please get in touch with us. Please, final considerations. Our guests first. Let's be educated.
Just educate yourself. Like, go spin around the web, look for dark patterns and psychological manipulations in software. You'll see a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of examples of crafting a UX to get people very comfortable and then trap them. And then don't forget this applies in real life as well. Just think, every time you go to the supermarket, there's a reason why the vegetables and fresh, crisp, natural things are up front, along with baked bread and the smell of homemade baked bread, natural, homemade, comfy. Oh, I like this, right? Then you go in and they make you go past all of the tinned products and food.
Chocolate,
right?
TV, and so on.
And you have to go past all of that and all those snack foods to get to stuff like toilet paper and medication in the back, right? And, there was a time when we were like, half killing each other over toilet paper not that long ago. And you have to walk all the way through the store to get it. Because they know most people are like, let's just grab this chocolate bar. Like, oh, my dad used to do this all the time. I do it sometimes. I'm not as bad, pal. I had to try to not do that because I realized I picked that up from him. But yeah, totally, they know people will just grab a little something here. Oh, well, a little something, we might need this. And you come back with 40 things. This happens. Enough people make jokes about it in almost every country out there, right? So Yeah, even the supermarket's doing it to you. So have a good, healthy level of paranoia. Even though the supermarket's doing it to you, you still do need bread and toilet paper, and it's just about reading the labels carefully to get the best price and quality at that point. But it's still a manipulation, right? And we still need to be aware that these things happen.
And here in Poland, you need to go through all the vodkas before you get to some useful things.
Or Germany,
Oh my God.
beer and bread. Yeah, also, yeah.
It's true. Okay, guys, final comments?
Oh, and let me start. Please, yes, comment, share, and subscribe.
Very good.
And share it to other people.
As Cassio said, I want to make it clear that it's a pleasure to meet you, Rachel, and I know and follow your work, and I think it's incredible. So what for you do for the community? So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
very
me.
much, Rachel.
Don't ask for free subscriptions of EDE, okay?
Yeah, I will ask you for if you have some recommendation from books. Talk about this.
Oh, yeah, actually, the Robert Cialdini. Do you want me to email them too, so you could just put them somewhere?
Yeah. You can
Robert
send to me.
Cialdini's Principles of Persuasion are really, really great. Like, think about this next time you interview, or even at your next team meeting. You want to get people on board with that idea that you have, right? Maybe to not have dark patterns is the idea, or some other idea. You can persuade your teammates and use some of these principles of persuasion. That's a really good one. There is a science article out there called Dark Patterns at Scale, which is a really good one specifically about dark patterns. And there's a couple others I could email, but I can't remember off the top the exact titles.
After for sure you can find this list of books and recommendations from Rachel on the website, notes of the episode, and also on the YouTube link I will put on the description, so it will be easier for everybody to catch up. Yeah? Okay, guys, thank you very much.
Guys.
Thank you, Rachel. We see you around on the communities and conference and so on. And guys from Brazil, good that I'm far because of these elections and so on. It's terrible moments. But it happens. Okay, thank you. See you in the next week.
Rachel.
Thank you very much.
Termina aqui DevSecOps. O seu podcast de segurança em tecnologia.